Have you ever wondered how a video or computer game keeps score? Or how the thermostat at your house stores the temperature setting you choose? Computer programs use something called variables to store information they need while the programs are being used. You may be familiar with the term variables from your math class, but variables in computing are very different from variables in math. In this video, we'll explore computing variables. Computing variables are placeholders in the computer's memory that can temporarily store a value. Each variable has a name and a value. Think of a storage box that holds and stores papers, and each paper in the box contains information. A variable is like the storage box. It's a container that holds and stores information. The values inside a variable can change just like the contents of the box. Variables can hold different types of information, also known as the data type of a variable. For example, a variable can store a number data type or a text data type, also known as a string, or a logic data type, also known as a Boolean data type. Let's first explore the number data type variables. A good example to consider is how a game uses a variable to keep score. It's important to give your variables descriptive names so it's easy to understand what the variable is used for in your program. So let's call this variable score. It's best practice to initialize every variable that you plan to use in your program. To initialize means to set the starting value. Some games start players off with 3 lives, so 3 would be the initial variable value. Game scores usually begin at 0, so in our example, 0 is the initial value for this variable. Every time you earn a point in the game, the value of the variable is updated to keep track of your score. When a number variable is updated to a larger value, it is said to increment. The value increases by a set amount or increment. Let's visualize what happens to the score variable when the game is being played. At the beginning of the game, the line of code score equals 0 initializes variable score to be 0. Whenever the player earns a point, the line of code score equals score plus 1 updates the variable score to be a new value. The new value is equal to the current value of score plus 1. The current value is 0, so the new value will be 1. If it continues to increment from the current value of 1, the new value will be 2. Number variables can also decrement or update to a lower value. For example, in a game, this might occur if the game takes points off your score whenever you run into an obstacle. Now let's consider an example of the text data type variable. Some games ask for the player's name before you can start. Because the name changes based on who's playing the game, this information needs to be stored as a text variable. Let's call this example variable player name. What if you want the game to say hello to each player after they enter their name? You can program the message to join the text stored in the player name variable with the string hello to say, "Hello, Raquel." Variables can hold a lot of useful information in a program. They make programs a lot more flexible and reusable. Now you know a little bit about variables.